I'm sitting inside the 2020 GMC Sierra Elevation, and this represents the new breed of half-ton pickup trucks. What do I mean by that? Well, let's start it up, go for a drive, and I hope to explain. Pickup trucks are more popular now than they ever have been. In fact, in the past month, pickup trucks outsold passenger cars for the very first time. We just can't get enough of pickup trucks as a buying demographic. And as the popularity of trucks has grown, what we expect from our trucks has grown with that. I mean that today's trucks are the most luxurious and complicated that have ever been sold on the market. This is the GMC Sierra Elevation, and it's actually aimed at a younger buyer. It gives you this kind of cool, monochromatic, blacked out look that people were seeing from a lot of young customizers, especially out west in Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan. In keeping with its theme of a younger buying demographic, the Elevation is a bit of a value model. This model starts at $51,000. This one, as you see it, is loaded with all the options you could imagine and rings in at an eye-watering $67,500. Now, $50,000 is a big number, but it's actually kind of ballpark for a decently loaded half-ton pickup truck. You're going to find competition from Ford and Ram starting in at the late 40s. Now, what makes this one really interesting is that it's equipped with the 3-liter Duramax inline-six diesel. All three of the American half-ton truck makers now offer a light diesel option, essentially, and this is the GM offering. One of the things that kind of shows the value-based roots of the Elevation package is that you can only get it with cloth seats, and honestly at $67,000 I expect leather, or at least a convincing leather vinyl. Also in the interior is a premium Bose sound system, which I'm going to give a Clayton sound system rating of a 7 out of 10. It's pretty good. It's evenly matched, it fills the cabin with sound. I'm not really acutely aware of where the sound is coming from. It does a good job of filling the space with sound, and I like that. Also found in the interior are storage everywhere. Look at the size of this thing. You could fit another GMC Sierra inside that cubby. There's one right there on the dashboard. There's another cubby here. You can fit mugs and thermoses and clipboards and phones and chargers. Anywhere you could think about in this interior, it is clearly meant to be functional from that aspect. Now, things that are less functional is the kind of haphazard array of knobs and buttons everywhere in this interior. If there was a methodology to it, I haven't found it. It certainly seems to just be like sprayed with a shotgun all across the dashboard, and it's hardly what I would call ergonomic. It doesn't drive like any of the old trucks that we're used to. This thing rides like a huge luxury SUV, because it pretty much is. This thing is more car-like than truck-like in the way it soaks up bumps. Now, that's awesome for highway cruising. This thing just eats up highway miles, and I love it on the highway at 110, 120. Where it falls apart is anytime you have to turn the wheel even a little bit, it feels like you're driving a waterbed. This thing rolls all over the place. I realize this is a 5,000-pound truck, and I don't expect this thing to be a Miata, but there is a certain level of squishiness and ponderousness here that I just don't find desirable at any vehicle at any size. And now I have to get into my largest complaint with this car, which is its largeness. It's no bigger or smaller than the other half-ton trucks in the market. Compared to an F-150, a Ram, this thing it's ballpark. It's the same size. They're all big. But this thing feels larger than the others behind the wheel. I feel like I am driving an entire apartment. And to put this into perspective, my daily, everyday car since I have been 16 is a Chevrolet Suburban. So I am used to a large car. Most half-ton trucks, honestly, are too big. This one is too. But this one feels huge. The other ones do a better job of masking its bigness. The hugeness pays off in the interior. I have lots of lateral room all the way around me. It's clearly meant that if you're a large person, this is going to fit you perfectly. And the bigness is so huge that I can barely reach the opposite corner of the screen. On the touchscreen, I have to lean out of my chair to adjust things on the touchscreen because it is simply so far away. Now, to move all that bigness around, you have a decent selection of engines. The base engine in the Elevation is a V6. It makes 310 horsepower. You can also get the 5.3-liter V8. And then we have what we have, which is the 3-liter Duramax diesel. It's an inline-6 single turbo. It makes 277 horsepower and 460 pound-feet of torque. Now, if you're doing actual work with this thing and towing, you're really gonna love that low-end torque, and you're just not gonna be able to get that in a V8 gas engine, no matter how big or how cool that engine is. Now, the other thing about this drivetrain is that it's smooth for a diesel. It's incredibly smooth. It has a 10-speed automatic transmission. The shifts are wonderful. They're perfectly smooth when I want them to be. They're quick and snappy when I want them to be. It doesn't hunt around for gears despite having 10 of them. The drivetrain in this truck is perfect. It's just great. The one thing I would complain about is worth noting is that this is a $4,800 engine option. It's so expensive. Now we're going to talk about diesel availability among the other three, and it's so nerdy and number intensive. I'm bringing out my notes. So Dodge will also sell you a 3-liter diesel, but it is a $3,900 option, and it's only offered on their expensive trucks. You can only get it on the Rebel, the Limited, or higher. You can't get it on any trim. Ford will sell you a 3-liter diesel, which is the lowest power of all of them, 250 horsepower, 440 torque. It is the weakest of the three, but you can get it on the low trim XLT model, but it costs $7,500. So, all that being said, does it make sense to buy the diesel in the GMC Sierra, or would you be better going with the 5.3 liter V8, which makes 355 horsepower and 380 pound-feet of torque? Well, honestly, it doesn't make sense if you're trying to save money. Yes, you will save fuel long-term with the diesel, but the economy difference is not going to make up $3,800 in a long time. The diesel option makes sense if you tow frequently, or you tow really heavy things, or maybe you just love the sound of an oil burner. All around, the Elevation is a really good truck package, and it does a really good job of nailing what the average truck buyer wants. The Elevation is basically the greatest hits package of the pickup truck option list. You get all the things that buyers want today. You don't have to pay for a lot of the frills that most buyers don't want. So if you are going to pick up a Sierra, the Elevation trim actually makes a lot of sense. It's really going to come down to what kind of engine you want to choose. Maybe you want the base V6, which has the best economy, it's the cheapest to buy. Maybe you want that classic V8 sound, or maybe you want the towing power and ultimate capability of the Duramax diesel. Whatever engine you choose, the GMC Sierra is a thoroughly modern half-ton truck, and I just wish it was smaller. That's all I wish. But maybe I'm crazy. Tell me in the comments.